Hey everybody, here is some information on Gandhi, whom is one of my favorite, probably people of all time. And I love his approach on how to deal with situations very similar to the ones that we're dealing with right now. He had to deal with the British rule in India, and he was, in my opinion, and I think other people's opinion, extremely successful in getting the British out of India. I think he did completely. I don't know all the facts of everything that happened. I saw the movie with Ben Kingsley and I loved it. It was a while ago, so I don't remember all of the dynamics, but I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit of information on his life and how he did the things that he did. Okay, so he's been called the father of India and a great soul in a beggar's garb. His nonviolent approach to political change helped India gain independence after nearly a century of British colonial rule. A frail man with a will of iron, he provided a blueprint for future social movements around the world. He was Mahatma Gandhi, sorry if I mispronounced that, and he remains one of the most revered figures in modern history. Born Mohandas Gandhi in Gujarat, India, again, I'm sorry about the mispronunciation if that's what happened, in 1869, he was part of an elite family. So he came from money. And if you see in the movie, like he looks like a white boy on a train, and everybody's looking at him like, who is this white boy that also has got an Indian? Like his complexion was white because I think he lived in England for a while, but you could tell he was Indian. Anyway, it's a great movie. I encourage anybody to check it out if you haven't seen it. But after a period of teenage rebellion, he left India to study law in London. He did go and he lived in London for a while, England. Before going, he promised his mother he'd again abstain from sex, meat, and alcohol in an attempt to re-adapt strict Hindu morals. So he was also following Hindu morals. Interesting. In 1893, at the age of 24, the new attorney moved to the British colony of Natal in southeastern Africa to practice law. Natal was home to thousands of Indians whose labor had helped build its wealth, but the colony fostered both formal and informal discrimination against people of Indian descent. Gandhi was shocked when he was thrown out of train cars, roughed up for using public walkways, and segregated from European passengers on a stagecoach. In 1894, Natal stripped all Indians of their ability to vote. Gandhi organized Indian resistance, fought anti-Indian legislation in the courts, and led large protests against the colonial government. Along the way, he developed a public persona and philosophy of truth-focused, non-violent, non-cooperative he called Satyagaraha. Again, I'm sorry for the mispronunciation. Gandhi brought Satyagaraha to India in 1915, and he was soon elected to the Indian National Congress political party. He began to push for independence from the United Kingdom and organized resistance to a 1919 law that gave British authorities carte blanche to imprison suspected revolutionaries without trial. Sounds similar to some current laws here in America. Britain responded brutally to the resistance, mowing down 400 unarmed protesters in the Armistice massacre. I think they show that in the movie. It's a horrible scene, but it's part of life, man. Sad, but it's a part. Now Gandhi pushed even harder for home rule, encouraging boycotts of British goods and organizing mass protests. In 1930, he began a massive Satyagraha campaign against a British law that forced Indians to purchase British salt. So the British actually forced Indians to purchase British salt instead of producing it locally. This is one of the things that really got me with Gandhi, was when he was like, well, screw that, we're going to go make our own salt. And I think that's exactly one of the best things an American can do right now, is stop buying into all this corporate bureaucracy and all this craziness and just start growing your own food. And that's what he did. So anyway, let's continue. Gandhi organized a 241-mile-long protest march to the west coast of Gujarat, where he and his acolytes harvested salt on the shores of the Arabian Sea. In response, Britain imprisoned over 60,000 peaceful protesters and inadvertently generated even more support for home rule. So when they did that, the repercussions just grew in his favor. I mean, the repercussions, so people got arrested, but from being arrested and the attention that all of that got, it actually helped out it actually ended up helping them in the end because more people heard about what he was doing and they realized that they could do something about it, and it was hurting the British. And then just more people began flocking. And India's got a lot of people, a lot like America too. So the British were completely outnumbered. It's just when the people start working together, that's when they're screwed. And that's eventually what happened, is there's just way too many people for them to control and they had to flee. So by then, Gandhi had become a national icon and was widely referred to as Mahatma, Sanskrit for great soul or saint. Imprisoned for a year because of the Salt March, so they sent him to jail, he became more influential than ever. And again, going to jail made him even stronger. It goes back to that quote too, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. He protested discrimination against the untouchables, India's lowest caste, and negotiated unsuccessfully for Indian home rule. Undeterred, he began the Quiet Indian Movement, a campaign to get Britain to voluntarily withdraw from India during World War II. Britain refused and arrested him yet again. Huge demonstrations ensued, and despite the arrests of 100,000 Home Rule advocates by British authorities, the balance finally tipped toward Indian independence. A frail Gandhi was released from prison in 1944, and Britain at last began to make plans to withdraw from the Indian subcontinent. It was bittersweet for Gandhi, who opposed the partition of India and attempted to quell Hindu-Muslim animosity and deadly riots in 1947. That's another thing he did. He tried to merge the gap between Hindus and Muslims because they just be killing each other like crazy. And he's like, dude, you guys are, this is silly here. But anyway, so India finally gained its independence in August 1947. Hallelujah. But Gandhi only saw it for a few months. A Hindu extremist assassinated him on January 30th, 1948. Over 1.5 million people marched in his massive funeral procession. So, this is real stuff that really happened, and it's there to be learned from if the intent is there. So, all right, I love you guys. Y'all take care. Bye.